Welcome to another episode of the Forgotten Athlete podcast with your host Joseph. Here with Zach. How's it going today? All right, guess he's going well. All right, today's topics are going to be about the Patriots Dynasty series on Apple TV. First thoughts on it from me. Very nostalgic. Um, Probably one of the more nostalgic films, documentaries I've watched. The thing about sports documentaries, and I'll say this, and I'll let you put your 2 cents in, Zachary, before we talk about the episodes. But the thing about sports documentaries are that they're very excuse me, we were just shake. They're very memorable because you remember the moment when when an event happened. Like at least the modern ones. Like when you're watching like history documentaries about like the past and stuff like that, unless you were alive during that time frame, like you don't really feel it as much. But when you're watching modern documentaries, I guess maybe not even just sports, but just modern, like you remember it. Like I remember just one documentary that I can see is the Red Sox one, like the Red Sox curse. I forget what they called it, but that documentary that ESPN did, 30 for 30 on it was really good. Zach, you have any thoughts on just the documentaries just in general? Or
I'm a huge fan of them. I try to watch any documentary I can. Um, yeah, I just enjoy learning, um, hearing people's accounts of situations, understanding that there's multiple truths, and every individual, a part of the story, has their own. So it's great seeing and hearing their perspective. And when it's on camera, it's just something different than when you're reading it.
yeah, unless they're Belichick, where it's like, all right, I don't want to comment on that anymore. I've already said what I needed to say on that. Yeah, unless you're like that, I will say that's what I expected from this Patriot Dynasty. I didn't know that Belichick was going to be on it when I first read about it. Um, but I guess we can kind of get into it, starting with the first episode. And I don't know if you remember it too much, but that's the pretty much the start of it where Bledsoe got hurt. Everything
Yep.
kind of came about, and um, I guess before we kind of even I guess where it started from. Do you, me personally, I love the background that they gave about the craft, how he purchased the Patriots, how he purchased the parking lot before before he bought before he bought the actual team so that he can have
Yeah.
leverage, when he went to buy the team. And like he's a businessman, but he's not like Kraft wasn't a like he wasn't like a capital investor like he is now. Like he literally owned a print shop, and it was a family owned business, and
Oh,
that
really?
pretty much yeah that they kind of talked about it, and I think it was in the second episode where they talked about that. But it was like a printing business, and they kind of just started from there. And
Mhm.
obviously printing was really big back then. Like, you had your businesses and whatnot. And I would assume he had a lot of businesses or business in the Boston area. But just what are your thoughts on just the overall first episode, starting with just the Bledsoe injury, $100 million man going down, and then some guy that no one's never heard of steals his job.
I mean, just watching strictly keeping it to episode one, I believe that was where I believe it was Teddy Bruschi mentioned that's where the Patriot way started.
Mm-hmm.
When you had this guy who was making all this money, and he could have been a really bad locker room guy, but he chose, to be a good locker room guy, and just the karma of the situation. Given where it was Brady who ended up getting hurt in the AFC title game, and seeing how um, Bledsoe came in and rallied the team, and ended up winning the game and going to the Super Bowl, and it
Yeah.
really put the decision back on Belichick. Hey, what are we going to do here? Are we going to go with Plan A or Plan B for whoever starts the Super Bowl? He ended up going with Brady, and obviously we know the dynasty, right? The whole point of the documentary or docu series, whatever. Um, that's my opinion on this episode one.
I just want to say this. I enjoyed, and this will kind of segue us to episode two, but I
Let's do
really
it.
enjoyed hearing those NBC games with John Madden covering the game in the Super Bowl,
Mm.
where he's all like, I don't know what they're doing. I don't think you
Yeah,
should go for this. I wouldn't do it if I
yeah,
was him. I would just kneel it down and take it to overtime. And then John Madden always did this. He always whenever he said something that was like wrong, he would always admit it like during that time. Like you don't really get that anymore. Like nowadays, these guys don't really predict what these teams should do. It's more of this like, oh, this is what they're
Tony does.
doing.
Tony Romo does it all the time,
Okay, I guess
and
that's
people,
true. That's true.
yeah.
That's true. Okay, Tony Romo does do it, but he doesn't.
Collinsworth,
He doesn't.
Collinsworth,
He
Collinsworth
doesn't
does
do it
it.
as much. He doesn't do it as
Collinsworth
much.
does it.
But you know what I'm saying
Collinsworth
though.
does
Like
it.
John Madden, he would like say like, "This is what I would do in a
But
situation" and
sure,
stuff like that. Because
sure,
I guess he's a coach.
sure.
He was a former coach, so I guess that's
Yeah,
where like player, the coach, it different. That's why I really hope that Belichick goes into the media room. Like he is needed. I feel like he is needed in the media room, but we'll get to that later. Episode two,
yeah.
though, this is where I think we may hear some heartbreaks to our
That was
listeners.
where the
The snowball, where I didn't
man.
know this. I didn't know that there was no snow forecast. Did you know that? Like, I don't. They
No,
didn't.
like again, like
They said that
I
there was
think
no snow forecast.
that's the kind of the beauty of the situation, right? It's like that entire season for the Patriots, it was really just luck and being in the right place at the right time. I think, and it showed in that game where
Yeah.
that luck and being in the right time. It's like you have this. I mean, they could have played what I forgot who Pittsburgh played that opponent, but anyway, they played a West Coast California team that was traveling to the East Coast, and they're used to being California, sunny, right, rain maybe, but not snow, not playing in the snow. Yeah,
Yeah.
you had guys from college who played in the snow before, maybe, but as far as NFL careers, you didn't have that. And then you saw that luck again come in with the play that I can't stand. That uh, it was a fumble, right? But the refs decided they had other plans, and the luck continued. Yeah, that's man, that was a tough episode to watch. Probably up to this point, 1 and 2, it was the more challenging for me, a Raider fan, to see that
Can we talk about
again.
can we talk about how Kraft purposely did not shovel
Sure.
down the field? Like he
Yeah.
like he literally did it to the minimum amount so that his team could have the leverage. Now, obviously that is smart,
Wow. I'm hearing
but
something different now.
what do you mean?
When they're kind of later on in the series, we get to the episode at all costs.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I took
yeah,
that as Belichick.
yeah.
Belichick at all costs. So
Pause
we're
that.
gonna get to that later.
Pause
We're
that
gonna get to that
because
later.
we're on the same talking track. Like we are, but I want to go through episode in case people have
Yeah, let's do it.
already
Let's do
watched
it.
it
Yeah.
and they kind of want to
Yeah.
listen to our take on it. The third episode, the Brawl Time episode, where they kind of win the Super Bowl and they kind of start going into the next year and whatnot. This is one of those where like just remembering it, and this is honestly on that same score where I'm going with like doing whatever it takes to win. Like that's where I'm going with like whatever it takes to win, just doing it. And Belichick did it, and I am so glad they had Mike Martz on this episode because literally he was like you can see the pain in his eyes. Like he was like yeah, like they were doing they were purposely holding us, purposely pass interferencing us until the refs called it. Like he was all like everyone knows that they don't make calls during the Super Bowl. Like they're very conservative on the calls they make compared to the regular season games and any other playoff games. And they took advantage of it. So I think one of the things where I'm just like, oh man, like just like noticing that 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 Patriot way is doing it at all costs. And I guess that's the name of the episode, like, all costs where we get to in a couple seconds here. But do you have any thoughts on that borrowed time episode where they kind of just discuss like pretty much them performing on the biggest stage in the Super Bowl and whatnot? And
Well, yeah,
in that final drive.
I think to like you hit on something when you first started, right? You're like, hey, I like documentaries because it really takes you back in time, especially the ones where you were actually, living during the time. And they talked about 9/11
Yeah.
and how they were the trying to represent, the all America at the time. They felt like
Yeah.
they were kind of America's team, being their nickname as the Patriots. So that was obviously something that really I thought they played it. They didn't. I thought they blended it in well. It wasn't forced.
Yeah,
Like I thought like I appreciated that because I think we thought at the time kind of
like like like
especially
like
my
like
God,
like it was set up.
if that happened today, my goodness, the conspiracies that would
Yeah,
that would come
yeah,
out. But during that time, it was kind of a low key conspiracy. It's like this is what the NFL wants. They want the Patriots to win, and the Tuck rule happened. It snowed out of nowhere. All this stuff came down. But in the next episode, we see what was really going on. Kind of
yeah.
like the Wizard of Oz at the end of the story coming
Af-
out. Hey,
After three Super
this
Bowl wins,
is
we get to episode 4 where they discuss the
yeah,
Spygate. And
yeah.
I will say though, I didn't realize that that season where they went undefeated until they lost to the Giants was the season after the Spygate investigation. So watching it from just that perspective, oh, it just made it like it just made their run to me. It made their run for Tom Brady to break the NFL passing yards records, for Randy Moss to have over 20 touchdowns, for them to go 18-0 or 18-1, I guess. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. And they blew out every single team. Like they didn't like take it easy on anybody. And just watching back on them, just like,
No,
oh,
they
they're
they
they're
would.
they're
I
they're
remember
they're kick
Joseph.
ass.
These guys would like
Run up the score.
they would run up the score.
Yeah.
Like fourth quarter, they're up 20. They're still passing the ball, and
Yeah,
they're
I remember. I
it
remember
was like
vividly
I
against the
remember.
Bills. Like the Bills, they
I feel like
in a tight end game. I remember there was a tight end game
I feel
during
like the
that
Titans
season.
they blew them out in the
Yeah,
snow, right? It was like 50 to
yeah.
5 to 3 or
It
something. It
was,
was something.
but they were up like 35-0 at halftime, or it
It
was like
was
28.
like
It was like
that's what they
28-0 at the
did.
end of the first quarter, and like they ended up scoring 50 points. And I'm not gonna lie, that part I'm just like, okay, I respect you, Bill. Like you're just like you're saying because that kind of gave him the Davis kind of like where like he's just like a rebel against the NFL. And I do want to touch on this on the episode. This is probably the only thing I want to touch on was the Roger Goodell part where they asked him like, hey, like why did you destroy the tapes? And then Roger Goodell's like, well, so no one could reuse the tapes. Like we don't want people
Yeah,
doing this. And I just want to say this: as much heck as Roger Goodell used to get early on, I will say he's probably one of the most integrable commissioners that has ever kind of held that ranking in any league across any sport, because looking back on it, he was very honest with the media, but he didn't give them everything. And I don't think, and he didn't give the public everything. I don't think people need that. Like, I don't think everyone needs to know exact details of what's going on, but I do think that there is a level of transparency that the public needs as a fan, as fans of the sport, people that pay to watch the sport, people that pay to cover, or people that get paid to cover the sports. Think that level of transparency is important. And you look at it now, and it's the same stuff still happening. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff that goes under wraps that we want some transparency on, that we could all talk about with the NFL. But compared to other sports, I think that Goodell does a just really good job.
the one question that I had coming out of Spygate episode was with Eric Mangini.
Yeah,
Like he didn't tell while he was with the Patriots what they were doing. He goes to the Jets and he's like, Bill, come on, man. Do me a favor, just don't record us.
yeah, that's a good point.
And
And
he's
he,
like, all right, I asked you not to, and you still.
yeah, I will
I
say
thought that was hilarious. It's like, okay,
Belichick's snide comment just like, oh, like he's like, yeah, I've already said I won't talk about that. Like, all right, let's get to the other episode, episode 5, which is where called Torn, where Tom Brady breaks his, or not breaks, but tears ACL. Which is the reason why the below knee hit is not in the NFL anymore, where you can't hit below the knee, or this is a penalty, obviously, to the quarterback, that is. So he was kind of a trendsetter because obviously the best player. I mean, I guess he wasn't the best player, but probably one of the most successful quarterbacks in the league goes down, kind of ruins the product of the league. So that kind of started the okay, we need to start taking these hits a lot more seriously situation where we can't have these quarterbacks get hit late. We can't have these quarterbacks get hit below the knee. We can't have, so a lot of things that guys a lot of complaints that people have about the league now, it all started from this event, like this torn episode where Tom Brady goes down. Would you agree with that or would you disagree?
Yeah, I guess I just remember, when he got hit, Bernard Pollard, uh he he was doing that stuff a lot. Like he was a kind of
Yeah, yeah. He was a
borderline
dirty
dirty
player.
player.
Yeah,
But like I don't know if he be the dude on the Broncos this year, Kareem
Kareem
Jackson, right?
Jackson.
It was him.
Yeah,
Like I guess that'd
he
be the
was a
equivalent to today's player,
he
but
was
he
a
was
hard hitting
worse.
guy.
He was because yeah.
He could hit hard.
Uh, I just remember that from that moment in time, and I guess looking back on it, I hadn't realized they had gone undefeated, and then that next season is when it happened,
Yeah, yeah. It was the
and
season
I'm
after
like,
the Super Bowl loss to the Giants.
yeah, and it's like holy moly, like the kind of because I don't remember Randy Moss being there for a long time, and obviously that's one of the reasons, right? It's like here's this guy, um, that he Brady missed a year, and Castle, right, who hadn't started the game since grade school because he was, you know, what Carson Palmer's backup or
Little
something,
League World
right?
Series.
And
That's
he
crazy.
was somebody USC had like line art and stuff. Like he was
Yeah,
their
yeah, yeah,
backup,
yeah. He was
whatever.
the backup. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like seeing how you know Brady became the system player again. He threw 50 some touchdowns, broke the record.
Hmm.
Castle comes in, wins 10 games or 11 games, whatever they were, and it's like, hey, there Brady is a system quarterback. Matt Castle did it.
Yeah, yeah, I think the system quarterback definitely played a role into how we see him. I think episode 7 is going to talk about it because episode 6 at all costs talks about the Aaron Hernandez uh case for the most part,
Yeah.
where where I will say this. I would have liked to know a lot more from Belichick perspective. I feel like he was very short in his answers. And I feel like honestly, I feel like he looked ashamed. Like he looked very ashamed
For
of
which part?
Belichick when they kept on asking him about it. He just didn't want to talk about it. He I think he put football over everything. Like he put winning over everything. And I think he probably battles with some type of internal battles, just knowing that he had a guy on his team where like I mean, dude was a murderer. I mean, murdered multiple people. You know, and I
Well,
just
you
I
had to
have
think there were signs, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah. That's
nobody
what I'm
can be
saying.
just a
That's what I'm
regular
saying.
person, someone who you see at practice or work,
But
daily,
even
and
during
then
that,
you're like, all right, this dude he's not just out there just murdering people. Like there has to be something going on. And I thought it was they disclosed, hey, this dude was a nutcase in the locker room,
yeah, that's
right?
what I'm
Like
trying
he
to bring
had
up.
people who shared lockers with him. It's like, or not shared lockers with him, but
Yeah, I know what you
in
mean.
the
I know what you're
area.
saying. Yeah,
And it's like, look out for this kind of stuff because he does this, like how he interrupts a practice. It's like, whoa, you interrupt a Patriots practice,
and Belichick would
calling
just
Belichick
ignore it,
daddy, and
and he
Belichick would laugh. And
and he
I'm like,
would
whoa.
ignore it.
I'm
Like
like, that was the craziest thing because you think Belichick's this militant guy, but he had to have known something about
yeah,
he
him
didn't want to
being.
cross Aaron, right? Like he's like, I don't want to cross that guy. I'll just let him kind of be in control of the situation.
What do you think about the part
Like,
where he asked for a trade? There was speculation about him asking for a trade,
yeah,
and Belichick
yeah.
telling him no. Pretty much. I mean, obviously, he did say that he could have a security here. We have security. You know, we'll watch out for your family. And I guess it came at the same time where that shooting at the bar appeared, where he shot two people, or shot at him and his friend shot
I
at two
here's
people, and
my
they both
thing. Here's
died.
my thing. Here's my thing about it. And I obviously don't know the guy, but just watching it, I felt like they kind of put the blame on watching it now. They're kind of putting the blame on Belichick
Yeah,
that he was this
I don't
guy
like that.
who
I didn't like that personally.
Hernandez tried to reach out and said, trade me to the West Coast. I need to be away from this area. And Bill not doing that was the reason Bill Hernandez ended up getting in trouble. I don't know
Yeah,
if that's the reality of the situation. Like obviously
I
it
agree.
could have been, but it's like this dude seemed like he was just somebody who I mean, he was at Florida causing problems. That wasn't near Connecticut, you know,
Yeah.
and he was like doing trouble down there. Who's to say he gets traded to I don't know the Raiders? Like he doesn't get in trouble with the Bay Area or the
Yeah,
Niners
because
or the Cardinals or something. Like it's just I mean, I don't know about that. I feel like that was a reach. It was.
Yeah, the director that they had on there, director of player development, he said that if he didn't go to the Patriots, Aaron Henry would probably be still in the NFL or something like that along those
I
lines.
mean,
He
what's
said,
he gonna say?
and I don't think that's the case. I think that this guy was something wrong with him. Like something was mentally wrong with him, and where he liked like he was an aggressive person, and
He never controlled his temper. That's what it
yeah,
seemed like.
yeah, and he was
They
just
said he would
an
go
angry
off on his
guy.
teammates in the locker room, and it's
And
like, I don't know if
I,
that's like
it's
gonna.
I didn't know that Dion Branch was next door neighbors or
Me
across the
neither.
street to him, and
Yeah,
that was like his, like they like his rookie. And I forgot all about Dion Branch. Not gonna lie, I know he was a baller for the Saints, and he came to the Patriots, and he was still a baller.
Saints,
But
Seahawks.
Seahawks, I'm sorry, Seahawks,
Yeah, yeah,
Seahawks, yeah. Sorry, thanks. But yeah. So I just feel like I don't know, the episode, it just showed me the bigger picture where the Kraft family was acting like they didn't know what was going on, and that part kind of ticked me off because this dude Robert Kraft was all like, "Hey, this dude offered to pay for his um defense counsel." He's all like,
yeah.
he's like, "Hey,
Did
let me
you do it?
know
I pulled him in.
if
I
you
said, "Did you
if
do
you."
it?"
And I'm just like, wait, if he said he did it, you're still gonna help him. You're still gonna defend him, and his son. I think that's his son, the Jonathan Crab. I think that's his son, where he's all like, "Where we didn't want to set a precedent where we would keep a murderer. Like we can't like we gotta drop the ball somewhere." And I do agree with that, but
His son seemed like the only one that was
like a
in his right
logical,
mind.
yeah, like
Yeah,
yeah. I agree with that. But where Robert Kraft talking about how he would defend, like he would help him defend himself if he killed him because he didn't think that this guy would be like he thought it was done by accident or something like that. And
yeah,
like the body was found in some like construction site, like buried, and it's just
yeah. It's
like
yeah. I don't.
I the episode was too short for me. I think they did not do them justice because I'm pretty sure they have
Someone needs to. Someone needs to
hour
take
long.
that and like go into more details because I want
Yeah,
to know so much more.
because
Like,
I mean, if Kraft is gonna talk about it, I think we should know. I mean, he seems pretty like Belichick. I don't think Belichick. We're gonna get anything from Belichick, but Kraft seems like he's gonna be the guy where he's gonna
nah,
talk about it.
Belichick didn't.
And
Belichick wanted the trial to happen before they cut him.
yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah,
his
that's true.
Kraft's son was like, "No, we're getting this guy off the team. We
Yeah,
can't." But yeah,
I just
that's just
don't winning at all
it seemed
costs
like they
though.
were they were a perfect match, like winning at
Belichick
all
and Kraft,
costs.
yeah,
And
Belichick,
like
yeah,
getting back to you kind of stopped me, which was fine because now I want to talk about it. But you have the owner when telling, hey, what are the NFL's minimum requirements for us to play this game? Okay, let's only shovel that much snow out the way. Let's make it as worst field conditions as we can to try to slow the Raiders down. And then the Spygate cheating, um, heck, the Flakegate. We're gonna get into that later too, right? Like a lot of cheating involved. Like this dynasty, as great as it was, it's extremely tainted. And for
mm-hmm.
me, I think there's flaws. Like if we're gonna criticize the creation of the United States of America, I darn well gotta be able to criticize the greatest dynasty in sports history. Like there's so much uh, wrongdoing that the Patriots did, and me being a Chiefs fan, obviously I jump bandwagons like the best of them. I ain't gonna lie. I just hope that the Chiefs aren't doing it this
I
way.
mean,
I hope, I
you
hope,
bring up the Chiefs, and they did have the player kill himself in their facilities. Like he killed
I don't
his.
remember that.
Like that happened like maybe like 10 years ago. Let me pull it up. Let me pull it up. That happened like 10 years ago where the
Oh,
guy
okay.
he
I was
killed
thinking more
his.
recent.
That was within Andy Reid's tenure. So I mean, I'm pretty sure Andy Reid was a coach. And then there's a lot of where the coach killed someone, where the coach killed that person while driving. Um,
Andy Reid's son.
yeah, he was Andy Reid's son.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Andy Reid said in the Super Bowl,
So I mean,
the week before the Super Bowl.
I, listen, I'm not comparing the two dynasties.
I mean, you had the shooting
But
at the parade.
you brought up the
Yeah.
Chiefs. So there, I'm just saying, like, this is something that we are looking back on. So looking back on it, the Chiefs are going to have their own Apple TV documentary maybe 20 years from now, which is gonna be great.
Sure.
And there's gonna be some stuff that we didn't know about, and that's gonna
Yeah,
come
and
up.
that's all I'm saying. I
And
said that's what I'm saying. I hope that they're not doing
yeah,
the cheating and the winning at all costs. Like they seem to be on the surface. They tend to be seem to be doing um, things more fairly, right?
mhm.
Um, with more integrity. Because the Patriots, I felt like there was no integrity with that entire dynasty. It was just we're gonna win at all costs, and
Yeah.
it was maybe why they didn't win as much as they could have.
Is that needed though? I mean,
Mm,
to win in this to not just to win one time, but to win over and over and over and over and over and over again.
but they
There
didn't. But
is
that's the thing, right?
there is
Like watching this, they didn't. They didn't though.
they
Like
won
they cheated to
seven
win.
they won or sorry,
They won
6
six
Super
by
Bowls.
cheating. They cheated in three of them that we know about, right?
I'm but
Like it
okay,
or not, they cheated. Like that's the thing.
but they still won
Like
6 Super Bowls.
you look at
Cheating
other
or not.
American dynasties, cheating or not. I guess if we're saying no rules,
And
now we're
the question I'm proposing,
WWE
the
TLC
question I'm
match. Sure,
proposing though is it needed? Is that needed to win in any field? Like, is that
cheating.
level of commitment to winning? Like just winning at all costs. It doesn't matter cheating. It doesn't matter what they're doing. Like cheating is just the example we're using with the Patriots. But what is needed to win? Like in these sports world, like the level of commitment you need to do things at, like the level of commitment you need to kind of like we like let's talk about Kobe Bryant. Like people hated Kobe Bryant. His teammates hated him because he expected so much from him. He wouldn't expect you to do anything that he couldn't do, and then if you didn't, he's not passing you the ball. And in some ways, that could be seen as being crazy, being selfish, being self-centered, being there's a P word for it, I can't think of it. Being like a pathological person, like just being everything revolving around oneself. But his ultimate goal was to win. And same thing with Jordan. Like you watched the Dynasty documentary. You watched the Dynasty documentary. That is up there with one of the greatest documentaries of all time. He beefed a lot with his teammates, with his front office, because he expected so much. He wanted to win. So my question is this: like, no matter how you do it, no matter how you either whether it's cheating, whether it's being disrespectful to people, whatever the case may be, there has to be some level of just giving zero Fs to win this league. And I don't know what the Chiefs does. I don't know why the Chiefs have won 3 Super Bowls in 5 years. I don't know what they're doing, but they are doing something where it's just like, and I think we saw it. You may not want to talk about it, but I think we saw it this year where Kadarius Toney was getting no playing time towards the end of the season. And I'm
Yeah,
just,
and they went on a winning streak. They
I'm
went on
no,
a winning
well,
streak
no,
right after
I'm using
getting
him
rid
as
of
an
the guy.
example. Using him as an example.
Go ahead,
Give
go
me
ahead.
things. Like they they don't care about they don't care about the player. They don't. Like we see it with their grades. Like
I don't.
they
I just
scored
don't
an
understand
F.
the comparison. What's the comparison here?
I'm saying that there has to be a level of no care to win in any sport. There just does. Like you can't care what people are gonna think. Like you gotta test the limits. Okay,
But the
let me
Patriots
see how far I
dynasty is
can do
going
it.
beyond. They're going beyond that. From owner to coach to heck, Tom Brady deflating the
But
balls.
okay, so
Like there's
okay, so
they're going above and beyond that
well
level that you want
they
Kobe
have the
or Jordan to go
trifecta.
to. Like, can you
Yeah,
imagine Jordan? Like, Jordan was winning championships every year. Like, we're talking about him, you know, Dennis Rodman is out murdering people. And then it's like, nah, Dennis, you're still playing. Like, they didn't do that. Like, they did not do that.
yeah.
This, like, that's not something that was happening. Like, uh, they weren't out there, hey, Michael Jordan likes shooting the ball with this much, um, pressure filled with the ball. Let's go deflate the balls a little bit to
I
give
cannot
Michael Jordan an
I cannot
advantage.
wait for the Deflategate episode.
It's like they weren't doing this. Michael Jordan wasn't recording, what Charles Barkley was doing. Like, that's he beat him when he was at his best, and I think that should be appreciated more so than this Patriots dynasty. I think it definitely brings the Patriots dynasty. Uh, like if you're watching 20 years of success, 6 Super Bowls, like they went to what 8 or 8? No, they lost to the Giants twice, and then
They
the
went
Eagles. So they
to
went to
they
nine.
went to 9.
They went to nine,
9 in
and it's
20
like
years. Yeah.
that's super impressive. But how they did it, they cheated. Like they protected, people with obvious problems, and like that's what I'm getting from the dynasty more so than there's this team that's really working harder than everybody else.
Are you speaking as a Chiefs fan, or are you speaking as a
A
NFL
football
fan?
fan, a football fan, because you gotta understand, I root for the Raiders, for example, and there's a lot of like I'm like heck, maybe Raiders should like Henry Ruggs, keep Henry Ruggs. Why get
Yeah.
rid of Henry Ruggs? Let's keep him. Let's get him a defense, owner. Go get him a defense attorney. Like get him the best defense attorney in the state of Nevada. Like let's get this man out. Like no, the Raiders cut him like the same day. They didn't care how it affected their salary cap or roster building. They got rid of the guy. Like
But
don't you think there's something to that?
But no, I definitely agree, and I want to play devil's advocate though, because there is an other side to this where some people will say, hey, this is what it takes to win this amount of time, because you don't get teams winning 6 Super Bowls
I
in
don't know. We're getting
20
close. We're
years.
halfway there.
Yeah,
We're
but we
halfway
don't.
there with the team, right?
Okay, so let's do this. If there
Because look at the teams
was
that you cheated. Like this is my thing, Joseph. Look at the teams that cheated. Like the Rams run was so impressive. Like I don't know if you remember, but the
oh yeah,
greatest show on turf was actually a real thing.
yeah,
They Kurt, like the football you see today is because of Kurt Warner, like his arena football experience, and he
I
just said
remember,
like we're gonna bring that crap here. Like
I remember.
another injury, Trent Green went down, like and that was Marshall Falk was like like I don't
LT.
think if you didn't watch Marshall Falk, I don't think you can understand how great the guy really was. Like he was running the ball between the tackles, taking it outside. He was catching the ball. Like he literally did everything. Oh, by the way, you have Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt. Like they had a really great team, and they only won one Super Bowl. And it's part of the reason why is because of this dynasty. At the time, I'm thinking, man, Patriots, Tom Brady, and the Patriots are really good. Going back and learning, it's like, oh, they cheated to beat the Rams. Like it
Let me
takes
ask you
it takes a
this.
little bit of luster from the victories.
Let me ask you, do you
And
want?
if you're the Rams, I want to interview the Rams. I want to know how the heck do they feel? Because I imagine it sucks.
Oh, Kurt Warner won't talk about that game. You can't get him to talk about it. He won't talk about that Patriot game.
I
I,
wonder why.
I will ask you this. What do you think about a guy like Harbaugh, Jim Harbaugh, who did pretty much the same thing that Belichick was accused of with the Spygate, and he's now an NFL coach? If he wins a Super Bowl, is his legacy going to be tenured because there's
I
this
mean,
cheating. There's this year that he cheated.
if it comes out that like, let's do it this way. He won the national championship this year, right?
Mm-hmm.
In college football. They're gonna look back and say he cheated to win to win. And there's nothing that is in my mind that I can be like, oh, they would have won with or without cheating. I can't go there. No, I'm not a Michigan fan or anything. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
that's probably why. But it's just it take some of it away. Like
I, no,
it's got to.
I'm talking about him as a coach, him and his legacy. If they go on a run, win 3 Super Bowls in a row,
Mm-hmm.
and people are wanting to call him the greatest coach ever, like ever in any sport, just like greatest football coach ever, The one that
I mean,
he was one of the
if
first
he
coaches
wins the
to win
Super
a
Bowl with the Chargers,
Super
I mean, you got to
Bowl.
put him up there.
Yeah, but he has this year where he cheated that we know of, just 1 year that we know of, and he probably was
Yeah,
cheating before this.
we're talking 1 year, and we're saying
Yeah, but this is that
probably.
first.
It's been
This was that.
proven that the Patriots' first
No, it
three
was
Super Bowls were cheating.
it was proven that Michigan cheated. Like it was legit proven. Now whether Harbaugh knew about it, that's up to debate. But he literally took a suspension from the university because he admitted to, or they admitted to, the football staff admitted to cheating, and then they fired the
They
football
don't
staff.
want the no. He took suspension from the school because they don't want the NCAA coming down 5 years from now and saying your championship doesn't count.
I
That's
mean, I
what they're
get
trying to
it,
protect themselves from.
I get it, but I'm just saying they cheated. I'm just saying they did cheat.
Yeah, and I'm saying their championship means less than Nick Saban's championships, for example, or Georgia's national championship. Like if it comes out Kirby Smart is cheating at Georgia, his championships mean something less.
So
Dabo Swinney, same thing.
Belichick's. You think Belichick is not the greatest coach? Is he still like in your top three, top four? Is he in your Mount Rushmore of greatest coaches of all time?
Man, you're putting me on the spot. I haven't really thought about it. I really haven't thought about it.
I mean, I can name four, but I have still Belichick. I got Bill Walsh, Belichick, um, forget the thing. I can't think of his name now. God dang it, the Pittsburgh Steelers coach who won like four Super Bowls in the 70s and 80s. Chuck Noll, yes. And then Andy Reid. I would choose those four coaches as my top four. And I would say that personally. That's just me. And I'm only doing Bill Watson, Chuck Noll because they did what they did.
I don't even know. I'm
in a
young enough.
time
I
where-
don't know those guys. I mean, I guess we can say it, but I mean, I don't know them.
What, Bill Walsh?
Yeah, I know of them, but I'm saying I don't know them. So I mean, I
So
guess out of respect, you just put them as the greatest coaches of all time.
but
I mean-
okay, so without Bill Walsh though, you don't get this modern style offense that we run now. Like he
I
started
hate
the
when
West.
people do that
What do you mean? He literally
because
started
if he didn't do it, somebody else would have.
who?
I don't know. Somebody would have.
God rest his soul, Coach Webb, Kennedy Titans. He would talk to us all the time.
Like, okay,
when they're back
this
in
is
the
what I'm
day.
saying, Joseph. Joseph, this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. If you go outside and you like, oh, that's a nice Tesla, and it's like, oh, you can't own a Tesla. You can't say a Tesla is a great car. What about that? The Model T. Without the Model T, there would be no Tesla. Like that. It doesn't like.
You lost me there. But I will say this.
I'm saying, what's the best? What's the best car? What's the best car out there today? Nobody in their right mind is going to say Henry Ford's Model T. That's what I'm saying, Joseph.
Okay.
There would be no your favorite car. There's no BMW without that Henry Ford Model T, and no one ever throws the. But for sports, it's different. I guess is that what you're telling me?
I mean, I think sports is easier to grade. There's less coaches that are successful than there are cars that are successful. So, but I mean, you still have an question. We got about a minute left. Who are your top four head coaches of all time? Like, if you had to make a list, who would make that list for the NFL?
Not a huge fan, but see, I'll use today, guys. Sean McVay. I think Sean McVay is up there.
Okay.
Super impressive. Andy Reid, I think you got to throw him up there. You got to throw Andy Reid. Honestly, Tomlin. I put Tomlin up there. I have no clue how they still haven't had a losing record. I don't get it because their team's not that great. And then the fourth guy, I guess out of respect, you'll say Belichick. But anyone else can come and take that, to be honest.
All right. All right, there. We had there, folks. That's our podcast for the day. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Thanks, Zach, for tuning in. Catch you guys next time. Where we'll probably talk about the other Patriot Dynasty episodes if they're out by the time we record. But yeah. See you guys later. See you, Zach.
See ya.